Welcome to IVB Auto. Today we'll be working on this 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLA 250. We're going to be replacing the front brake pads and rotors. Now this car does not have the sport package, just something to keep in mind. So let's get to it. I did not get the brakes from Mercedes-Benz. I don't know what brand came on this vehicle, but I chose to go with Brembo for this car. Brembo is an OE supplier for Mercedes-Benz. You want to make sure that the park brake is on before you start lifting the car up. If your park brake is not on, turn it on by pushing this button. First thing we want to do is jack up the front of the car. Now, I don't know if you can see, but right in the middle is the front jack point. We're going to just lift a little bit just to get the majority of the weight off of the wheels. That way we can go ahead and break the lug nuts loose. So I'm going to use a 17mm socket to break the lug nuts. So I already loosened them up. And next thing what you want to do is there's one special locking lug nut in my case. So usually it's in the glove box. Everything you see me do on this side, I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other side. Now I can lift the car the rest of the way up. Next, what we're going to do is put some jack stands underneath the car. I'm going to have to go a little bit more up. There's jack points here in the front and also the same in the rear. What I'm going to do is just set it over here on the front one. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side and lower the car down. I'm going to secure our jack stand. Safety is super important. Go a little slower than that. I'm still getting used to this new floor jack. Now that's in place. That's not going anywhere. That's not going anywhere either. I'm just going to do a shake test. Make sure the car is not going anywhere. That's solid. So now what I'm going to do is remove the wheel. I'm going to use an impact gun to speed up the process. And what I like to do is put the wheels underneath the car just in case it ever comes down. So this is what the brake rotor looks like. This is the brake pads in here. This is the brake caliper. So this is what we'll be replacing. So what we're going to do first is remove the brake pad wear sensor. This is how I knew I had to replace the brake pads on this car. So we're just going to pull this out. Comes right out. I'm going to leave it in here. Turn the wheel to the right or to the left, depending on which side you're working on, to give you more space to work with. So these sliding pins are going to be a 13mm socket. We'll be sure to reapply some blue Loctite. Now we can remove the brake caliper. We want to hang this up. I want to just get this wear sensor. I do have this hook that came in a brake kit because you do not want to let this hang on the brake line. Now it gives us the opportunity to work on this without this getting in the way. So as you can see, these are the sliding pins. This is what we want to lubricate. It seems like these are still good. Little dust cover right here. They seem to be sliding smoothly. Now you will need an E18 star socket to remove the brake caliper bracket off. This job doesn't require an impact gun, but I think every job is more convenient with the impact gun. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. It's not recommended to use a non-impact socket, but you know, I don't have these and I don't think these are torqued too crazy. I went ahead and used them anyways, but just something to keep in mind. So now we have our brake pads out. This is the brake pad sensor. So all it does is just, it slides into the brake pad. And what we want to do is push these out. Now the brake pads on here are some sort of import direct. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't put these on the car. So the Brembos are definitely going to be a better upgrade than this. All right, and then all you do is push both of the brake pads out. They have these little push pins, and so it'll keep the brake pad in place. And then you want to make sure that the direction that you put the brake pads, the new brake pads in, are the same. Now, for this car, I don't think there's a front-facing brake pad. As you can see, both have the wear sensor. So you can put, and both of them are the same. So it doesn't matter which direction you put the new brake pads in. I'm going to clean everything up with a wire brush. I want to make sure that everything is sliding nice and smooth. And I'm going to also re-grease these sliding pins. Now the final thing is that we got to remove this bolt to remove this rotor. It is a T30. There we go. We're going to hold the brake rotor in place so it doesn't just fall out. Now this also has some blue Loctite, which we're going to replace. And just like that, the brake rotor is out. What we want to do now is clean all the surface area, remove whatever this is, remove whatever rust there is. We're going to use some brake cleaner, a wire brush. We're also going to clean and grease up this valley right here. This is where the brake pads move. We got some brake cleaner. Now we're going to clean this. Now we're just going to wipe everything down, make sure that it's nice and clean. It cleaned up nicely. Make sure everything is nice and dry so we can start greasing things up. I'm going to go ahead and change out my gloves because these are pretty dirty. All right, now I'm just going to unbox everything. These are really nice. Gotta get a catchy thumbnail. Oh, these are heavy. Brembo called and they said, like the video and subscribe if you're not already. Enough playing around. Let's get back to it. From what I've read, some brake rotors, they use oil and stuff to prevent corrosion. We need to use some brake cleaner to clean that oil off. Dry everything off. As you can see, the brake pads came with new hardware. I don't see a new screw for the rotor, so I think we're gonna have to reuse the old one. Since we're reusing the screw, I'm gonna just take some brake cleaner as well. So after that, we're gonna add some blue Loctite, or just one drop. I wanna take this, I wanna reinstall it. And then what I wanna do is find the hole right here. And this is the same bolt, so this is the same T30. You want to make sure it's seated all the way up against the back before you tighten it. We have it in place. The torque spec for this is 10 Newton meters. There you go. So what I want to do now is just clean the sliding pins. And there's just like a little rubber boot that goes on top. Pop it off from this side. I'm going to do the same thing for this one. And all we want to do is we want to lubricate this so that way it's nice and smooth and nothing gets seized up. I'm going to just put these little boots back on. All right, so before we can continue with the video, I want to preface I used the wrong brake grease. So this, after doing some research, after completing the job, of course, is not an appropriate lubricant because this is a petroleum base. The rubber boots and rubber seals will swell and expand basically, and that is very dangerous and that's not what we need. So I got this. And with a bunch of brake cleaner, I'm going to use this wire brush set to get all the old or incorrect grease out. And I got this. This is the Permatex brake parts lubricant. I use the silicone one, which is a more expensive, high performance. It's good for trucks, towing, trailers, hybrids, EVs. This is basically the highest variation that you can get. You don't need to do that, but I figured if I'm going to buy one bottle of this, I would want it to be for a wider application of vehicles. So what I'm going to do is redo everything that I'm going to show you in the video and reapply the correct grease. As my dad would say, learn from my mistakes. I'm showing you what not to do. So let's get back to the video. I want to make sure it's on the entire pin. You don't want too much because it'll cause air pockets and it will prevent the sliding pin from moving freely. You just want enough to just coat it. I'm going to slide it back in. I'm going to give it a couple of slides. Yeah, it feels good. So as you can see, it's starting to come out from the side. Wipe whatever excess that is so it doesn't get anywhere that it's not supposed to. And that's it. That's all there is to it. And now I'm going to do the other pin as well. Nice and smooth. We're also going to add a little bit of grease. So just enough to make it nice and smooth. I'm just going to wipe any excess off. Enough to coat it, but nothing that's going to get anywhere it's not supposed to. I'm going to put a little bit of the grease on the sides right here, on these little tabs, just to prevent any squeaking or anything like that. Slide the brake pads in. It is important which direction you put them in. Don't want to put them upside down. And just like that, they're in. To quiet your brake pads from squeaking, take some of this and we're going to apply it on the back of the brake pads. I don't know exactly where the contact points are and I'm not sure if this is the procedure, but that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to do the other one as well. So now we're going to put this back in. I'm not sure if there was blue Loctite on these bolts from the factory. I think I can see a little bit on the other one, but I don't really see much of blue Loctite on this, but I'm going to just do a couple of drops. It's not going to hurt it. And blue Loctite is not hard to remove. Red Loctite, now that you have to use some heat. And if you don't know if you have red Loctite, then good luck trying to remove that bolt. I'm gonna do this one as well. I'm gonna wipe off any excess grease that I see. So the brake caliper carrier bolts are 89 foot-pounds or 120 Newton meters. Now what you wanna do next is we're gonna spread the brake caliper. So the way this works, you have different adapters. This goes on here on this side where the piston is. We put this back plate on. Give me a little bit of time to set this up actually. Make sure it's all sitting level. And what we're gonna do is just extend the brake caliper. Now because these brake pads are new, we're gonna just push them all the way back. Yeah, it's nice when you have the right tools. This is the first time using this. And best of all, it wasn't even that expensive. I'm gonna just take some brake cleaner and wipe this down. And then the back of this. Now, because the brake pads are brand new, you will have to push the brake caliper all the way back. And then we're gonna push our pins back in. We're gonna use our brand new bolts for the sliding pins. It already has red Loctite on it. I'm not a big fan of red Loctite, but we're gonna use them. The torque specs for these are 30 Newton meters or 22 foot-pounds. And that was the 13 that we had on there. And because this nut is spinning while I'm trying to torque it down, so I'm gonna use these. This is the only thing that seems like will fit on here while I torque this down. Now all we have left to do is put this brake pad wear sensor back into place. As you can see, this is the old brake pad. And what happens is when it gets worn out, when the contact breaks, that's when you get that dashboard light to replace your brake pads. So what we're gonna do is just slide this into place. That's all the way in. Then all we have to do is just push this in, just like that. So there isn't an audible click, you just have to push it all the way in. And don't forget to clip this line back in place. And then I'll do the other side exactly the way I did this side. Now I'm gonna turn the steering wheel in the middle and I'm gonna put the wheels back on. Now another thing to keep in mind is that if you have not done a brake fluid flush in the last 2 years, then it's time for you to do a brake fluid flush. Now I won't show you how to do it in this video because I've already done it in one of my previous videos. I'll link that video at the end of this video if you need it. We gotta get our lug nuts. All right, now remember, lift with your legs if you can, not your back. And we're just gonna line up the holes. And before you know it, you're done with the job. All right, I'm gonna hand tighten all of the lug nuts first. We don't want any cross threading going on. Since the car is up in the air, tighten it as much as you can in a cross pattern. And then we'll torque the wheels the rest of the way when the car is on the ground. One quick note, there is no brake pad wear sensor on the other side, so just one. We're gonna lower this car now and we're gonna torque the wheel lug nuts. The torque specs for the wheel lug nuts is going to be 130 Newton meters or 96 foot-pounds. Now I'm still going to do a star pattern. I'm going to get up close and personal because this is very important, even though I have grease on my forehead. You have to pump the brakes after changing out your brakes. Whenever you push out the brake caliper, before you even start driving, turn the car on, pump the brakes, make sure the brake calipers squeeze the brake pads, and then when you first start driving, hit the brakes several times, test the brakes out. Once you get a nice firm brake pedal feel, you know you're good. Just gonna hit it a few more times. In order for me to make sure the brakes are working, I'm just gonna hit the brakes a couple of times. All right, the brakes do feel good. And the car is obviously stopping, so we did something right. So this is the braking procedure that I found on Google. I don't know if this is exact Mercedes-Benz procedures, but no complete stops, don't drag. After aggressive stops, take your foot off the pedal and coast to cool. If somebody has a Mercedes-Benz workshop manual, wants to chime in if it's different than this, then please do. I'm also curious to hear from you. What's the worst mistake you've ever made working on a car? Leave it in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more. My channel's up here. The next video is up here. And I'll see you in the next one. So here's my proof. This is the pins with the red grease. Just for anyone that doesn't believe that I was actually going to go back and fix my mistake. So it wasn't actually too bad. Everything came out pretty easy. Here's all the parts cleaned and ready for reinstallation.